and I have been studying mind for 22 years, and I have read more than 1,000 books about mind, mainly self-development books. But later on, I studied what is called neuro-linguistic programming. I know many of you are aware of this term. When I began, hardly anybody in India knew about neuro-linguistic programming. Another thing I learned about mind is from philosophy, Indian Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and then I also came across a Hawaiian system called Huna, which has a very simple very set of simple ideas which can be used to configure our mind in such a way that it becomes very useful to all of us. So let us jump into the subject right away. The first thing I'll like to tell you is what we will do in this webinar. I'll talk about how generally mind operates in a very brief way. I'll also tell you about conscious and subconscious mind, which is nothing great. You already probably have heard this term many times. I'll emphasize on peace and why peace is required for any mind to function appropriately, efficiently, and effectively. Also, I will, and this is the main topic today, the tools for configuring mind for efficiency and effectiveness. The idea that there are tools to configure mind itself is quite unknown to many people. But these tools are extremely important, and I'll be discussing many tools. Of course, I know in this brief webinar, I'll be only making you aware of their efficacy, their effectiveness. I'll be discussing a few ideas with you, and you will take home a lot of new ideas maybe you have not thought about so far. So be prepared, keep your mind open, and of course there are a few things which will be so new to you. You will have some questions and I'll be answering some of the questions. It is not possible to demonstrate all of these tools on the webinar. However, if time permits, I'll be at least giving you one demo. I hope you will all participate wholeheartedly and also give me feedback. At least a few of you will definitely notice the effectiveness of one technique that I will demonstrate. So let us get into the subject right away. We have conscious mind. You are now listening to my voice. You are sitting in front of your computer, and you are aware of the things that are around you. This is your conscious mind. You are conscious about all your surroundings, and there are many more things that you know. They are in your memory. You know many things. In fact, our brain and mind records every single stimulus or experience that it got from the time we were born, and those all are indelibly recorded in that part of mind which is called subconscious. By definition, subconscious cannot be conscious, means you are not aware of this, but all our personality, all our behavior traits, all our beliefs, all our values, they come from this subconscious mind. It is as if the subconscious contains a lot of programs that then run, and they do the work of those programs automatically, sort of. So we of course have some conscious control over those programs, but by and large, things like emotion, things like value, things like beliefs, they arise almost all 100% arise from subconscious. So much for conscious and subconscious mind. I love to call our brain and our mind as a NECKTOP computer. You are aware of laptops, desktops, and maybe mainframe computers. I like to call our mind and brain as NECKTOP computers because they are just as programmable, and we need to have right kind of programs to achieve right kind of results, and these programs do change. In fact, all education, all culture, everything is different programs already put inside our NECKTOP computers. So if we want to become efficient, if we want to become effective, if we want to become successful, happy, and whatever we want in life, we want to achieve that, we must reprogram this NECKTOP computer. So all the project managers who know several languages, software languages, as soon as you become project manager and you become manager of any sort, if you have a team, or you get married, or you become a parent, you should know this NECKTOP software technology, kind of. Unless you know this, maybe you can't become project manager who understands how to manage the whole team. So let us go forward. I love to say that if you are not using NLP, that is neuro-linguistic programming, and Huna, which is a Hawaiian term, and the meaning of word Huna is secret, because these techniques were kept secret for thousands of years for some reason. Now they have come to light and they are being studied world over. And if you are not using NLP and Huna, you are probably working too hard, because then your mind is not efficient nor effective as it should be. And whatever state of your mind today, you can better it. So even the best can be bettered. So let us go right into the subject of efficiency and effectiveness. So let us understand what is efficiency and what is effectiveness briefly. To make it very clear, effectiveness is successfully getting or achieving what you want. So immediate question comes to mind is, what do you want exactly? In my experience, I have found many people think they know what they exactly want, but they really do not, because they have not thought about, when they become effective, exactly what should happen. What should they see? What should they hear? What should they feel? What should they taste, smell through their five senses? That will prove to their NECKTOP computer or their mind or themselves, whatever you prefer to call it, that they have arrived or they have become effective. So effectiveness has to have some exactness. Whether I am getting what I want, what I desire, and whatever I am getting, am I satisfied? This is a very important and simple part, but this needs a little bit of additional thinking. And then what is efficiency? Efficiency is getting what you want by spending least amount of resources, basic resources, and these resources are time, money, energy, and thought energy. All of you probably know about time, money, and energy, and we have all same amount of time. We have some money, which is also has some limit. There is a limit on our physical energy. We can work only so much, and we can't, even if we try to overextend, it will be getting us negative results. But thought energy, very few people know that if you apply your mind extensively in one day and then you feel tired, you have probably not done any physical work, but because your mind was so busy, it was so overworked, in the evening you feel actually physically also tired, mentally tired, and that is thought energy. So there is a limit on our thought energy, how much thought we can apply and how much thought we can do. Especially the thought energy will deplete when we are fearful, anxious, or any other negative, frustrated, any other negative emotion will deplete our thought energy. And also peace of mind. If we don't have peace of mind, if there is chaos, that thought energy will be depleted. So what do we need to do for being efficient and effective? Here are a few ideas for your consideration. For being efficient and effective, you need to take care of emotions. And when I say emotions, I'm not saying emotions of others, but emotions of ourselves also. So we will be understanding that we need to take care of emotions of our teammate, we need to take care of emotions of our own, and we need to manage them properly so that they do not run out of hand, the situation does not get out of control. So this is about emotion. Then and peace is, of course, peace is an emotion. Even stress is a kind of emotion. You feel stressed, and that is a feeling, and that means it is emotion. So we need to be efficient and effective. We need to be peaceful, and we need to eliminate stress if it is there. We also need to invite thoughts to a certain aspect or subject. As a project manager, I will like my team to think about certain aspects of my project, about certain qualities of certain events, of certain peculiar areas to which they should apply their mind more and more. So we need to have technique to do that. We should be able to motivate people if they are not motivated enough. We should be able to align minds towards a common goal. We should be able to change their beliefs. Sometimes a teammate feels that this is impossible, I can't do it, or some of those things. We need to give him trust and beliefs that he can actually do it. And that way we can change beliefs. We need to also enhance creativity, create freedom of thinking, so that it gives permission for people to think creatively, to think differently, to think out of box. Really advanced techniques also can change behaviors. There are certain behaviors, if I don't like in myself or others, I will be able to change them. And there are also some techniques, and these are really new techniques to install new and useful behaviors. We'll discuss a little bit later in this webinar. The whole purpose is to create harmony and nice milieu, nice atmosphere in the team, so that the team will be working efficiently and effectively. So let us start taking care of our emotions. What do we mean by taking care of our emotions? Sometimes we get fearful, sometimes we get frustrated, sometimes we are joyful, energetic, and all these emotions are extremely important to us. And we need to have the right kind of emotion, particularly in our mind, as well as the mind of the people in our family, in our in our team, wherever. So we need to take good care of emotions. Now, if I say, okay, you should be managing emotions, people will have immediately a negative emotion about managing emotions. But if I say the term taking care of their emotions, they will welcome this term, because nobody wants to be managed. But if you take care of their emotions, they will welcome that, and they will readily agree to that. So emotions are such a fragile thing. They are a very, if you want to understand how emotions can suddenly erupt, just think of your spouse and you will understand how emotions will rise, and they can do damage which you don't intend to do sometimes. So let us go on to the first important emotion, which is peace. If we have peaceful mind, we are automatically efficient and effective. In today's world, it is very difficult to have peaceful mind. There is work pressure. There are several things happening in the world which disturb our mind. And what happens is there is a chaos in our mind. If I were to tell you pictorially how our mind really is going on, it might look like this sheet of paper on which there are lines scribbled chaotically, and all our minds, everybody's mind is operating like this. So we are not able to focus, we are not able to concentrate on or hold one thought in our mind. Suddenly some or other thought will interrupt and it will push in, and then I'll waste some time thinking about that thought. Before I become aware, I'm not focusing on the subject matter at hand. So I bring my mind back again, and again it runs away. So mind is like quicksilver. It will just go out of hand without any notice and will not even notice. This is particularly true when we are fearful, when we are anxious, when we are frustrated, or any other emotion which creates a kind of background thought, background chaos, or background noise. It is like talking to you when there is a compressor running by the side, and you will not be able to hear what I am saying. Same way, you will not be able to, with this kind of mind, you will not be able to remember exactly what thought you thought about, or what goal you decided upon. So this kind of mind is obviously not very useful for us. We need to do something about this kind of mind. And the first thing to do is to make it clean, like a clean sheet of paper, where there is no thought. Of course, since thoughts are not things like pieces of wood or steel, you cannot pick them up, you cannot hold them, so it is very difficult, apparently, to make this kind of clean mind, because if we have this kind of mind, then we would have achieved a lot many more things than we have probably achieved so far. So what we need is this kind of mind. We can't get this clean mind, but it will definitely be better than this chaotic state of our mind. So we should be striving for making our mind more peaceful. And when our mind is peaceful, we know when we want to go from state A or thought A. So thought A is, okay, let us say my thought A is I should make this project successful. And then I start working on it, and I have full focus, think about it, and go straight to the point B, which is in future. And I have applied my mind straight ahead, went to point B, which is in future, and there has been no distraction. But it does not happen this way, and that is the reason for our becoming efficient, not efficient and not effective. Besides, of course, not knowing where we want to go, but let us assume we know where we want to go, at what point of time in future. So that point of time and the place or the state we apparently know. What happens usually is we begin at point A, we decide we want to go to point B, and our mind starts playing games with us, and the mind goes helter-skelter rather than going straight to point B. It may be a big project, it may be a small thing that we want to do, but it will waste a lot of time, perhaps energy. I might even never reach to the point B, so I might not achieve, at least not in the desired time frame that I should be reaching point B, which is a success of anything that our mind wants to do. So we may miss the target, we may miss the time frame, and we may go somewhere else. Sometimes we, of course, we go to the point B, even if late. So this is what is happening. This is the major cause of inefficiency and ineffectiveness whenever we think about mind. So what happens when mind is peaceful? First thing is, we know exactly what we want, what we'll see, what we'll hear once we have achieved what we wanted to happen, what we'll feel, what we will taste and smell. Of course, here I am talking about our five senses, because NECKTOP knows these five senses as input devices. And these input devices are the only thing which you can, it doesn't have a keyboard, it doesn't have anything else. It only has thoughts, and it only has these sense organs which are programming and reprogramming the mind. So when mind is peaceful, we know exactly what we want, and we utilize least amount of resources, as I showed you in this. When it is not like this and like this, mind will go straight from point A to point B, and it will utilize least amount of resources, so will become effective and efficient. So that brings us to the first tool, which I call emotion balancing technique, or for short EBT. Emotion balancing technique. I know some of you might already have heard about this from me, but I like to show to all of you who are listening to this webinar and listening to these ideas for the first time, and those who know can also participate. So if you are listening to me, and if you have headphones or earphones, it will be even better. So and the beauty of NLP and Huna is, I don't need to know your problems. For example, if people go to psychologists, psychiatrists, they will first want to understand your problem, and they will want to understand your situation, so which you will have to reveal to them that this is my problem. But here I don't need, I am just working with the processes of mind. The content of mind is not largely, by and large, required. So if I may ask you that if you have your headphones on, you might want to maybe close your eyes and imagine, think about the worst life experience that you had. Now, since you are not going to talk about it or reveal what is that worst life experience, you are safe in keeping that experience to yourself. And all of us have some bad experience of something, at least in our life so far. Maybe somebody insulted us, hurt us, we got into certain accident, or something happened which we wish that should not have happened. And as soon as you start thinking about this event, you will probably see what you were seeing then. You will even hear who was talking what, where you were, how it was going. Probably you have already started feeling what you felt then. Maybe it was not pleasant, but I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, with your eyes closed, you will notice your heart is beating a little differently already. Your breathing has also changed when your feelings and thoughts about this life's worst negative experience you are thinking about. So while you continue to think about this experience, this event, you might actually be able to tell your own heart mentally to relax and continue to think about this event, and just tell your heart to relax, tell your lungs to relax, and notice it immediately starts feeling better. As you start telling your heart and lungs to relax, even while thinking about this worst life experience, and you might notice you can as well tell your eyes to relax completely. So your eye muscles, eyeball, retina, deep eye muscles, everything relaxes, and along with your eyes, your whole face starts relaxing. You will now notice your breathing is becoming more smooth. You are feeling more comfortable even while you are thinking about your worst life experience. And while you are thinking about worst life experience, your heart is now relaxing, your lungs are relaxing, your breathing is becoming rhythmic and smoother, and your eyes are relaxing, your whole face has relaxed. Maybe soon your whole body will relax. If you think of that experience once again, you will notice you are not feeling what you used to feel. It is feeling more comfortable, more manageable. Your breathing has become even more rhythmic. And the harder you try to feel that old way, the more difficult it will be to feel that same old way. So slowly you become more and more comfortable as you continue to think of the event that happened long time ago probably. And you are able to breathe smoothly, your heart is beating normally, and you are feeling much better even while thinking about this same old event which used to disturb you from time to time. At your own pace and speed, now feel free to give yourself permission to open your eyes, look around, look at something around you, and those of you who are feeling differently now can send me your comments if you can. If you are feeling differently as you think about that old event once again, if there is any change, I am sure not everybody will feel the change, but some of you will definitely notice that your emotions are now more balanced. Now you can think about this event dispassionately with less emotions, and this state is very useful for you probably. Okay, so this was the demonstration for a very easy, simple mind tool of emotion balancing technique. Let us think about the uses of it. As I said, fear, frustration, self-doubt, and things like that hampers people's performance in work. So those fears need to be handled. So this EBT, of course, you need to probably learn this technique much more detail in person when we are face to face. But this might have given you some idea how you can reprogram your mind. You can change the pattern, old pattern, which was not very useful, and you start being able to handle your emotions in an appropriate way. This is a very useful technique. I have used it with several people, hundreds of people, to balance out their emotions, make them feel peaceful about old events. At one point of time when I did it with about 300 students, one of the students who had several years ago got into an accident and used to get very disturbed by that memory. And suddenly after doing this exercise in that big group, he became so ecstatic. He really understood how now that old emotion and his old frenzied thinking about that event has actually vanished. So I get a lot of surprises when I do this exercise with people, and they are pleasant surprises because people get rid of those negative emotions. There is one more. I'll now like to tell you about several techniques that I have learned, used, and I continue to use them in my counseling work with students, with project managers, with husbands, wives, teachers, and I find them very useful. This spin around technique it's the simplest of simple technique. In fact, those who go to temples have done this. We go around idol of God, or we turn around ourselves. So this is same simple technique. Probably those people in old days knew the usefulness of doing this, of going around the idol of God, or spinning around yourself with a certain object in front of you. And the negative emotions, it will change the pattern of your thinking. The old pattern, which probably was not very useful to you, can stabilize. It can become dispassionate, and we can look at the things, look at the situation in a more objective way. So we kind of make our conscious mind free to think logically by doing this. Of course, we don't have time to completely explain this technique. Some of you who have actually attended my trainings know about this technique, but this is the simplest of simple technique, and the simple techniques need to be done carefully because it is easy to make mistakes in that. So you need to clearly, so before you just utilize them, you need to understand all nitty-gritty and all the fine things, and then only you can use probably these simple techniques. But they are really simple. In fact, I love to say the simple things in life are most extraordinary. Only the wise are able to understand them. And these simple techniques can do wonders in project management, in creating efficiency, effectiveness. I use them right, left, and center in my life with my people who come for counseling. So this is very effective. Let us go to the next tool. And that is one tool I called Saatvik Work. I don't know how many of you know about Saatvik Work. I'll take a little time to explain this. Saatvik Work is a good kind of work. You can just say, okay, it is good work, if you don't know the word Saatvik. In Saatvik Work, what you do is you work very peacefully, maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day. You keep everything neat and tidy. You organize things. You do it really peacefully with love, care, respect, attention. And you are only thinking about the objects and things in front of you. So your mind is focused on what you are doing. There should not be any noise. There should not be any haste. You should continue to work peacefully for a period of, let us say, 15 minutes, half an hour. You can do things like tidying up your desk or putting your wardrobe in order, or things, or whatever else you might do. Even in office, you can spend 15 minutes of your working time. You do whatever work. There is no limitation on that. But if you do this, it will create a very peaceful mind. It will automatically reduce stress. It will create a good work culture. One more technique, and this is from Hawaiian Huna. And this is Pico Pico. So in its simplicity, what I can say about this technique is you just shift your attention from time to time while you continue to breathe. So when you breathe in, you take your attention to top of your head. And when you breathe out, you take your attention to your navel or center of your body. And you continue to do that from time to time, again and again. And you do it for 10 or 15 minutes. And it is so useful, so effective. I know some of the people who are there on this webinar today, and they have had phenomenal results by using this simple technique. You need to understand this technique in person if you really need to understand. But this is such a simple tool. If we are able to use it, we can create a very peaceful mind. It will overcome fear, doubt, and any other negative emotion. Actually, sometimes pain has also vanished in matter of moments. Within minutes, the pain has disappeared. So I'd like to tell you some more advanced techniques. These are simpler techniques, and some of the techniques are, of course, more advanced. This city and rabbit hole, when we are running a project, we need people's mind to be free, open, flexible, and creative. So this city and rabbit hole is an exercise from Hawaiian Huna. And this makes our mind open, it makes our mind flexible, and we can think out of box when we start doing this technique again and again. When I say we should be doing these techniques again and again, I don't mean they are like exercise which you ideally should do every day or something, but from time to time, as the time permits, whenever you have a certain emergent need, and just to improve your life, improve your situation, improve your project, you can do these techniques. You can do these techniques even with your groups, which are very useful. I know a few people who are using them in their offices with stupendous results. Another mind tool is a very simple exercise called appreciate and smile. People really think they smile, but they are not smiling because we don't see our own face. So we are not knowing whether I am smiling now or I am not smiling. I might think I am smiling, but actually my face will look as a frown. And if that is happening with people, how to create that tendency to smile? Again, appreciation is a huge area. There can be a whole workshop, 2-day workshop of skill of appreciating people in appropriate ways. Whenever we want, this appreciation is the best motivation, but hardly anybody appreciates anybody else, at least not to their heart's content, and in a way in which they will start getting motivated. So we need to create a tendency in our mind to smile and to appreciate people around us, especially our team people, our teammates, our spouses, our children. Why I insist upon appreciating everybody? You cannot just appreciate your teammate and not appreciate your spouse or your child. So it is a habit, it is a tendency. So it is a tendency to smile, it is a tendency to appreciate. I am sure you have met a few people who keep smiling a lot more than others, who also keep appreciating people a lot more than others. And this trait, this behavior is so much useful for project managers. If we want to be efficient, if we want to be effective, if we want our team to work with their whole heart into whatever they are producing, then we must have this skill of smiling, appreciating. Smile also creates harmony, peace in the team. So it is absolutely necessary that if we are not having this skill of readily smiling and easily appreciating in appropriate ways to people around us, we will not be a good project manager, husband, parent, or whatever, teacher. So this very tool, if we practice, slowly our skill will improve in appreciating and smiling. There is another very important skill I like to make you aware of, and that is called appreciative inquiry questions. This is not from NLP really. This is not from Huna either. This is what I learned. You can even Google appreciative inquiry questions and you can get loads of information. Some few guys have done some doctoral work in some famous university about appreciative inquiry questions. What I will like to tell you is it is so simple, and I know you are all intelligent people, so it is so simple. You can actually customize these appreciative inquiry questions for your purposes once you understand the very simple basic idea. And the very simple basic idea about appreciative inquiry questions is, if about 50 people are sitting in front of me and I ask them, today morning what did they have for breakfast? Now I know all those 50 people have not even answered me, but instantaneously they have recollected where they were, what they ate, and how it tasted. All those minds on my prompting of this question, where did you have your breakfast, or what did you have for breakfast today, they went to their breakfast table and quickly re-experience what they experienced then and are ready with the answer. Now this basic idea of ability to take a group of minds of group of people, maybe 100, maybe any number, and you take them to a certain aspect or event or time frame or idea, and you make them think about it. For example, a project manager, if he asks his team, which is, let us say, 10 or 15 people, if he asks his team, okay, what did you learn new? What new thing you learned in your today's work? Immediately, everybody will go into remember whatever happened in the day, and they will find out, okay, they learned this and this for the first time. So if I ask them what was useful or what can be used elsewhere, again, these are very loaded questions. They are making these group of people holding their minds, taking them to a certain aspect of event or thing, and I want to make them think about it. So using these techniques, I can design my own set of appreciative inquiry questions and actually direct the minds where I desire them to go to the topic or aspect. Another point I will like to highlight here is we are creating possibility. So if I ask them, okay, who helped his teammate today? So they will probably come up with answers in their mind that some of them will say, okay, I helped my colleague or I helped my client or whatever. And some will say, no, I didn't. So we are not, if somebody comes up overtly with the answer, we of course can appreciate that. But we never criticize. We never ask them, okay, why you did not. We just ask these questions. Okay, who helped his colleague? So I'm creating a possibility. After a few days, in another meeting, if I ask this question again, okay, today who helped his colleague? Now next time the same person who said, okay, I did not, might once again come up with, okay, I did help somebody or I did not. After a few such repetitions, the whole group will understand that this is the norm in this team, that you should be helping your colleague, you should be helping your own teammates. And that creates the whole new culture, that defines the culture in which you are able to operate, particularly on this project. So you are able to create possibilities, you are able to create the whole work culture by this very simple technique of designing these appreciative inquiry questions. And these can be really extremely useful for project managers.
There's a question actually here from Mangesh.
Huh.
Can you please elaborate on city and rabbit hole tool?
Oh, okay.
How to use?
Okay. City and rabbit hole is, it will take some time, Mangesh. Thanks for asking this question anyway. In city, you imagine you are in a city which has walls all around it. So you can't enter the city easily. And at a central point, there is somebody waiting for you. And you go from outside the city somewhere to inside the city, and you collect that prize or gift for you. And the first time you go in your imagination, because you are sitting there quietly, your eyes are closed, and you are imagining that you are going to the center of the city and you are collecting that gift. So next time you go by a different route. You don't take the same route. So you start thinking differently. So first time maybe if you got straight, next time you go there some other time. some other way, and you again go there, collect another gift, come back where you started and go for third, fourth, fifth time. The whole exercise takes about 4 or 5 minutes, not more than that. You collect 5, 6, 7 gifts. In rabbit hole, you imagine you have entered a very long, deep rabbit hole, and you imagine you start crawling inside and you become curious and start crawling deeper and deeper and deeper. And it is rather longish than you thought initially. So you come up, you turn, and you go up and go down and do whatever you do. As a variation, after you come out from the other end, you can even go out in the air, become a aeroplane, a small aeroplane which does some aerobic exercises. Aerobic, no, not aerobic. What is? I don't remember the word. So it turns and it makes circles and screws and twists and dives, and imagine you are that aeroplane. Now all this, there are even some more variations of it, will loosen your old ways of thinking. It will help you access different parts of your brain. Actually, the blood supply to different parts of your brain will improve. Your memory will improve, and your mind will become open. This is a very useful exercise. It is from Huna. So thanks for asking that question. Some of the things are really, I'm sure, new to many of you. So we are getting into a more advanced mind tools. This one is called Power Walk. And in Power Walk, you imagine your goal. Now here I like to talk about, I briefly touched upon goal setting. Traditionally, we know that we should set goals. What we should know is we should attach a time frame, a time value when we want to achieve that goal. And just writing what your goal is, actually you need to experience it, because your NECKTOP thinks only in terms of vision, sounds and feelings and tastes and smells. It has only those 5 inputs. So you should feed your NECKTOP with your goal in terms of these 5 senses. And while deciding upon our goal, we should think about goal in this way, using our 5 senses. What will happen when actually I have achieved this goal? And then we start also thinking about the time. So our mind knows when we should have what we are wanting to achieve. And that is our goal. So goal setting is very important, and it should be done in this particular way and not done any other way. This is NLP and Huna way. We should know exactly what we'll see, what we'll hear, how we'll feel, and what we'll taste and smell if it is relevant to that particular goal. So Power Walk is such a tool. I would like to tell you something extremely important here, that during evolution, people did not have earlier the language, but they were thinking. And even though they did not have language, they had pictures, they could see things, they could hear sounds, and the mind was thinking in terms of these pictures and sounds and feelings, and they compared one feeling or one picture with another picture and tried to make sense. So ultimately, when the languages were developed during the course of evolution of human beings, the people use that same pattern of thinking, comparing what what they are learning newly with something that they have already learned before. So this pattern is very important, and this is how our mind thinks more in a symbolic way rather than in a logical way. So there is always a symbolic part of our mind. It thinks symbolically. So if I were to walk somewhere, I close my eyes and I imagine I'm walking towards a building, and inside that building my goal is going to get realized, and I start walking. I just start looking around where I am, and I start noticing what are the details of the things around me, if there are plants, and if suddenly something happens, like a storm comes or a tree falls or an animal comes to my mind, that event, that thought has a reason to appear, and this reason is actually not known to my conscious mind, but it is absolutely relevant to my situation. And that is why this has appeared from subconscious to my conscious mind, sort of, and it has appeared during my walk in my imagination. Now, if I am able to handle that, suppose the tree falls, maybe I can overcome that problem of fallen tree by walking around around the tree if it is possible, or cutting it down, or burning it, or do whatever you want to do. Again, now the method you will use will come from your own mind. So it is immediately useful for you. So you trust your subconscious, all things will happen very naturally, fluently, and you ultimately arrive into that building and you realize your goal. Now this is a bit of a difficult concept to understand. What this will do for my goal? Suppose I have a project to complete in a certain time frame, and I want this thing to happen. I want my client to really appreciate me, my boss to appreciate me, send me a commentary mail or things like that, or I'm having a party. What this power walk has to do with the actual real project? Can I do it in my workplace? Can I do it with my team? And the answer is yes, because I know a few people who have learned, the few project managers who have learned this technique have used extensively. One person who was sitting here and had a very tough challenge ahead of him, and his team was really frightened and doubtful whether they will be able to do it, and he did power walk, and his team was sitting in Bangalore and he was sitting in Pune, and he was able to do this power walk, and the whole project then in matter of days went forward very nicely. They completed the work and they got a lot of business. The company got a lot of business. So this is one such tool which is extremely useful, and logically you may not be able to understand what is happening here. This is the beauty of the symbolic things, our way we think symbolically, how our mind operates in a symbolic way. And once we start understanding, we can make our project, our life much more efficient, much more effective than you have ever thought possible. There are more tools. This clone mastery technique is for learning new skills. You can learn any kind of skills. The one person using this technique, of course, I don't know that person. I came to know about this on the net. He actually learned 9 different foreign languages in matter of 2 years. And that is phenomenal. I have myself used it for learning many skills, and this is extremely useful, clone mastery technique. This is one beautiful technique. I have actually picked up the idea from an American guy, and I have customized this. You can actually Google Anchor Dance and you will get my uh, my files on Scribd, site called Scribd. There are a few files. One is for advanced anchor dance techniques. Maybe you will understand this technique is extremely useful for creating changing beliefs, and I have found it extremely useful with students, with project managers, with team members, to change their feelings about a certain project, challenge, or whatever they have, and this is extremely useful. I'd like to tell you a little more now. We are coming to even more complex things, which are actually our, we all dream, and dreams kind of appear in our life. When we are sleeping, they automatically appear. And as they say in our old culture, even all the other life, when our eyes are open and we are awake, whatever we see is also a dream, it's not real. And someone has said, one who looks out dreams and one who looks in actually is awake. So let us say we are living between two dreams. At night we dream a dream, or when we close eyes and imagine I am doing somewhere, I am going somewhere, I am doing some activity. That is also not real, so it's a kind of inner dream. And outer dream is when I am successful, when I am happy, or when I am sad. So whatever is going on in my life now is my outer dream. So these two dreams are sort of interconnected. And if I change my inner dream, I have some control of changing my outer dream, which is my life. So this is very useful, and this is very extensively used in this master technique, which I called a gem of a technique, which is garden. You create a garden in your mind and you remember it and you do certain activities. I have one friend who has been doing this technique. He has increased his earnings several times in many folds, and actually he solves his office problems by visiting his personal garden. So this is another tool. One of the tools that I have actually developed rather recently is installing a behavior. So a certain behavior which we find obnoxious or undesirable, and if the person is willing and ready to change, because it's not good enough to change just tell the person to change. He needs to reconfigure his mind, rewrite his subconscious programs, so that and only then the behavior will change. So even the new behaviors can be installed. So all these techniques I have discussed briefly, many techniques. I have also given you a demonstration. And what I like to tell you here is, as they say, prover proves what the thinker thinks. And surprisingly, prover and thinker are us. Unfortunately, when my conscious is thinking and it is always subconscious which proves. So if my conscious is thinking in certain way, then the subconscious may not actually know what to prove. But on the other hand, if the thinker, my subconscious, starts thinking, and now the prover knows exactly what to prove, so it immediately starts working on it and proves what the thinker is thinking. So this can be further elaborated at some other time. I want to emphasize here that all these techniques are useful for shifting our conscious thinker to a subconscious level. So whatever I want to achieve, whatever I want to have, whatever I want to be successful at, if I want to be there effectively and efficiently, there are stupendous possibilities of effectiveness and efficiency by using these techniques, and you can really get whatever you desire in your life. Let us sum up a little bit about what we did today. We discussed how mind operates. We discussed about conscious and subconscious mind. We understood the importance of peaceful mind, and we discussed many tools for configuring mind for efficiency and effectiveness. So before I say goodbye to you, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for attending this webinar. And I want to ask you a few questions which are very important, and then I'll take a few questions if you have. Did you enjoy being part of this webinar? Did you find the subject simple for you to understand? Did you learn something new about mind today? Did you understand the importance of learning and using these techniques in project management and elsewhere? Will you like to learn more about these techniques so that you can use them effectively? Can you imagine your own projects becoming more effective and efficient by using these techniques? If I have any questions, I'd like to answer them. If the time does not permit, as Vivek said, we'll send all the participants the answers of these questions. Thank you so much.
I think we have still a good time as such to answer some of the questions.
Yeah.
And one question coming from Rajshekhar is that the webinar was excellent, and I handle project teams. Some team members work very efficiently from evening onwards, instead in morning. How to make them efficient and get work effectively from such team members and change their work attitude?
Yeah. Rajshekhar, thanks for this question. Actually, our behavior is in patterns, and you have probably noticed a pattern in some of your team members that they work only efficiently in the evening and not in the morning. Maybe they have a pattern of not sleeping well, not sleeping on time, so they don't have energies. Their food habits can make these things this happen, and there are several reasons, and you may not know all the reasons, but all that you know is you want to change this pattern, because this is not very useful pattern. So you can actually do an exercise like rabbit hole exercise, which will free up their mind. You can create peace by doing several exercises. I have not discussed all the peace creating exercises today, but you can, of course, you can create peace in that person's mind, and you can actually motivate him to work in the morning. You can ask him appreciative inquiry questions appropriately. You can design them yourself. That if you ask him, okay, what wonderful thing you did in the morning today, and maybe he comes up with answers or does not come up. Next day again you ask him, what wonderful thing you did first thing in the morning, and he may not come with a positive answer, but you are not interested in answers. After several such occasions of maybe 4, 5, 6, he will one day say that, okay, I did this thing wonderfully in the morning. Then you appreciate him. You smile broadly, maybe well done, and that's it. You leave it at that. So slowly he will probably. So these techniques are very subtle, And you don't have to tell them that you are using a technique or something, because uh, people don't like it if you say that, okay, I'm using a technique to change your behavior. But as a project manager, you can be subtle and you can get what you want. Thanks so much. I hope I have answered your question, at least enough.
Okay. I have some more comments or questions. So
You can use, if there are some comments.
yeah, so there are some comments, and okay, Mangesh want to hear about garden tools. Maybe a little later, let me take up some other things also.
Yeah.
And Utsav says, will a peaceful mind won't be content. And if mind is content, in innovation will suffer. What am I missing?
Yeah, this is a very classic question. People think, and during course of my life, I used to think the same way. If I start reading about, Bhagavad Gita and things like that, I will become very peaceful. And the peaceful people are complacent. So if they are not kind of motivated, they are not having that energy because they are laid back. And so I don't want to be laid back. I want to achieve something. So I want to work hard towards my goals, and that kind of thinking is very common around society and in many people. So immediately when I start talking about peace, people think, no, peace can't be for me, at least not for the project manager. Project manager cannot be at peace. But that is not true. Only peacefully you need to work. In fact, I like to say, if you want to arrive early, you go slow and peacefully. So this is a very classic question, but yes, and motivation is different and peace of mind is different. It is not true that peaceful people are always laid back, but it is true that peaceful people are effective and efficient. I hope I have answered that question enough.
Okay. The Mail Clifford is saying something. You just thanked for great session. I have used Edwards de Bono thinking style, but you have now given me more tools to bring to my projects and to help team members use the subconscious more in their thinking to solve issues within the team and develop solutions to deliver the projects better.
Yeah. That's a great comment. Thanks for that comment.
Arun says, thanks for simple techniques, information. How to handle one member out of my team of 9 if he is sometimes negative and thus sometimes create the negative environment more a mob philosophy. Psychology, sorry. More a mob psychology.
Oh, okay. So he affects everybody else's performance as well because of his negativity. Yeah. Now this negative thinking is kind of a pattern. It is obviously not enough to tell somebody, don't do negative thinking, think positively, because the thoughts are erupting automatically. And why those thoughts are erupting, nobody has control over their own thoughts. So they will just appear. So they are the programs, old programs which are there, they are running. So we need to reconfigure his mind. And the reasons could come from his other areas of life, about his family, his financial status, or the way he was brought up by his parents, or the school experiences that he had. So all these negativities and the desire to create and establish, it might be his concept of getting attention, of talking negatively. So there are several things, and if we start analyzing his behavior in such a way, we'll spend years in analyzing and not arrive at a proper solution. So we don't need to analyze actually. We can directly solve that issue by going to garden, by changing his beliefs, by doing anchor dance, then appreciating him in an appropriate way, creating the right kind of work culture in the team. So the team, if it starts giving him negative feedback every time he starts talking negative, then he will stop in his tracks and stop probably doing the same behavior again and again. It will be very useful to try these things than analyzing why he is creating or making negative comments and damaging everybody else's thinking as well. I hope that is useful to you. Of course, these techniques need to be learned in detail.
And to be practiced.
To be practiced. So you become better and better. The more you practice, the better you become.
It's basically an art.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Bala Kumar has a question. Any technique to bring the harmony?
Oh yeah. Peace itself is harmony. If the peace is there within if you align your team thinking towards a certain objective, then it creates harmony. You ask the right kind of appreciative inquiry questions and you create a work culture within your team. When I say you create a work culture, it doesn't take years to create a culture. It takes a few days. If you, a few times you hold meetings, gather them together, ask these proper questions again and again, and you appreciate the right kind of answers, you ignore the negative answers, and you have created a culture. And once you have done that, you are on your way to success. You will have a very efficient, you have aligned their thinking, you have created a very jovial, happy team which is motivated to achieve a certain common goal. So it is obviously possible. But of course, very few people are practicing this. I am rather dismayed at the lack of knowledge about the mind among the society, not to mention of project managers. Yeah.
Okay, one question is from Avi Gabriel. I hope I am pronouncing that rightly. I'm seeing that few of my team members will work effectively only during when the project milestone is fast approaching. I've tried to warn them, but found they will excuse beforehand.
Yeah.
That's a very common one.
Yeah, Vivek himself is a project manager for most of his career, so he understands it's a very common thing. People leave things for 11th hour, and only that motivates them, kind of. So it is surprising that, and we need to address, obviously, Amy, you are right. This is not good because when we start a project, we should be finishing it as much as possible right in the first run, in the first spell. Because we already know through experience there are going to be surprises, there are going to be unforeseen difficulties, and we should apportion some time for these kind of contingencies. If we finish our things fast, but these 11th hour workers who only work when the pressure builds up are exactly what we don't want in this situation. So of course this can be corrected, and even these right kind of exercises, the peace of mind and the motivation techniques, the garden will be in garden you can handle any amount of variables in different people. I have conducted garden exercise with 300 people. So I don't know which garden looked like what. So we were having 300 gardens there, and their challenges which were relevant to them were appearing in their garden. And their situations were rightly represented in their garden. And so the solutions also existed there. So you can take a group garden exercise, and of course you need to learn more about this, but Amy, you can do it. And thanks for asking this question.
Okay.
You can get in, of course, all of you can get in touch with me on my email ID or on my phone. Yes.
Okay. Bhupin says it is useful, but the session is too short. Definitely. For such kind of things, I think you normally do 2 days of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is required. Definitely, it is more an introductory kind of.
Yeah. 2 days will be introductory learning session, and then you need to practice, and then again need to interact.
Correct.
And we need to learn more, and then you will become more proficient as you progress. Yeah.
Can you share some examples on Power Talk?
Power walk.
Power walk, sorry.
Yes.
So I think you have 2 things. One is garden and exactly.
Yeah. Power walk is a phenomenal exercise, and I have any number of stories to tell you. One day I was conducting a power walk, and I like to cite that example. I don't know whether he really achieved that goal or not, because he never met me later. But that guy was in the group that I did power walk for, and I was guiding their power walk exercise. After the exercise, I asked their experiences and what they saw, and one person said, well, I wanted a certain amount of, big amount of money. So I decided that is my goal. I decided what I will see, hear, feel, and that was going to happen in that building in front of me. And when I started walking, he said, I thought somebody is following me. So I looked over my shoulders, and these goons, loafers, were having something in their hand, and it frightened me. So I gave them a slip, and he said I went forward. Then there were income tax guys before. They won't allow me to enter the building because it was a large amount of money. So they said, okay, have you paid your income tax, and so on and so forth. And then he entered. So this is the experience he shared. Why I'm telling you this experience is these are the fears relevant to him. If he has a fear in his mind, we call this in NLP a positive intention of our action. He can have a goal of earning this large amount of money, but he also has in his subconscious the fear that he might be robbed, his life may be at risk, and if that belief is there somehow in his subconscious, that will appear as the robbers chasing him during the power walk. So it certainly makes him aware of his whatever is going inside in his mind, in subconscious mind, which otherwise he wouldn't have understood. So if he were to make a choice between living and making that kind of money, he will probably make a choice of living rather than that kind of money. And he will probably say, okay, I'm okay with whatever money I have, and never really work towards earning that money. He will self-sabotage his effort. Consciously, he can go on telling all his life that my goal is to earn that kind of money, but his positive intention of living rather than earning that money, which is subconscious, will keep him from getting that money.
Okay, Abhi says that, does this mean that their mind will be focused only on hard deadlines? Maybe I think you have answered this question already along with that. Pradeep says, are there any techniques for focusing on mind efficiency? Please elaborate. I think these all techniques basically focus on mind efficiency.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is it possible to have peace of mind and passion together?
Yes, it is possible. I also touched this subject, this topic. Yeah.
Okay. This was Dilip, and Arun says thanks. Mangesh will say something. Will it be possible to share one of your experience where you use such tools in your life in your real life recently?
Oh, I keep on doing this almost practically every day whenever I have an important event coming forward. I always use power walk, I use garden, and this garden technique is such beautiful technique. If I take your garden, it will go on for kind of 30-40 minutes. And if I do it, I can do it in matter of couple of minutes. And I can reconfigure my mind. So I do it every day practically. At my stage of life, of course, I am financially contented and I'm happy about whatever I have. I'm also happy about my relationships, about my parenting skills, about the way life is going for me. So
You have practiced enough.
yeah. And not only I have practiced, I have counseled this enough. One student, a very young student, I installed a few behaviors. She used to make a lot of noise in her class, and she was just about to be rusticated from the school. So I helped that young girl to wake up early, which she not used to. She started waking up on her own by setting alarm, and then used to wake up her mother. She used to help her mother in the kitchen, which she never used to do. She stopped quarreling with her mother. She started keeping quiet in the classroom. So class teacher sent her mother a note that now they have given up the idea of rusticating her. I also installed that she will like the maths subject, and which she now does, and she enjoys doing maths. So these kind of techniques are extremely powerful. I use them every day during my
Okay, we are running out of time, but we have only last question is left, so I think it is good to take that up also. Okay. It is Maximiliano, and where you can download the information from the paper. Thank you. I didn't get this question as well. Actually, can you elaborate on your question, please? Saying where you can download the information from the paper.
I think he is asking about information on NLP. If you Google NLP, you will get kind of 20 million pages, because NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, has become a very popular subject around the world and in the corporate world. So you can get a lot of information about NLP. Less amount of information is available about Huna, and it is a bit of scattered information. So I'll suggest you read Serge King's books. SERG, Serge King. His name is Serge King. He is a Hawaiian, and his books are phenomenal. I have extensively studied SERG
GE.
KING. You just go to Amazon or any book site, and you will get a lot of books from him. I have thoroughly read all his books, and I am a great admirer of Serge King book. And the techniques I am using, I have customized them for our own needs as a project manager, needs as a husband, as a student, as a teacher, and as a wife. So these are very useful. So thank you so much.
Okay, I think we have run over for a couple of minutes. So again, now thank you very much, Mr. Dikshit, for coming over here and sharing these unique techniques. Okay. Indeed, it was an excellent presentation. Thanks to all participants for taking out time and joining the webinar. I hope you found it interesting and take away some techniques to implement back at your work. We will send you an email which you can use to claim your PDUs. It would be having a link to provide the feedback, so please do not miss to let us know your views. Recording of this webinar will be available on YouTube in few days. You can revisit anytime. I wish you all a very, very happy new year.
Thank you so much, and a happy new year, new and prosperous, happy and prosperous new year to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.